Yo, what's going on, guys? Hope you guys are doing well. So this is gonna be another net video. I would like to call this the apocalypse infection apocalypse build. You really the idea here. Now this is not. I wouldn't say this is the definite deck or anything like that. The perks, but it's just an idea if you guys want to vary a little more, try things, new things. But the idea here is really just the main idea is really just a discount on the creatures. Um, Plus the high levels of infection. So essentially, you're constantly spawning creatures. You know, you're kind of spamming creatures, but they're very highly infectious. So that the survivors are pretty much always, infected and losing time. Because this build is still about winning with time, not so much killing them. Which is the meta of this game, I would say currently. Now, as far as the creatures goes in the deck, you definitely want to use the ones I'm using, which are the cheapest ones. That's definitely necessary. And now, as far as the equipment goes, there with the perks for the equipment, right? I used you see I was using everything that was infection based, but you could also use the biting perk, so they will bite more often instead of using one of those canisters, which is something I tried out, and I'm still trying out this, but I will be recording more games, so you guys can see variations in which works best. But basically use the variation where they bite more because there's so many zombies everywhere. If they're biting more, it's much more likely that they will, not only give more time to you, but also infect them higher because a bite will always infect much higher than those swings that they like to do when they're not biting. So yeah, that's some variation I would try. I have tried it and it works. I'm just experimenting at the moment if it's best to have two equipment for the extra biting or just one is enough. I'm still experimenting with that. But I try using two and it definitely goes a long way. It's just funny with the zombies. They can't really get close to zombies without getting grabbed. Berserker like this is also helps a lot because they get more agile. So it gets harder to avoid their grabs for the survivors, especially when there are too many of them like this. Now here I'm trying to spawn on top of them so the infection won't spread here. And you see I'm just trying to get close to them as much as possible to spread the infection as well as hitting them. 3 hits like this is probably equal to one level of infection, so January is likely level 2 right now. Which is good. You want them to be a level 3 constantly. Everyone on the team. The time would just tick away like crazy. You see like that, those kinds of grabs, especially when he's in the middle of everyone like this. You can chain grab, chain bite, and just keep, controlling different zombies to bite them, and that would just eat the time away like crazy, especially if they are alone. That's a really good strategy with this build as well. The only problem I found it here is that it's really just they aren't always infected. If you haven't used the camera for the infection, the zombies aren't always infected, so I feel like that can somewhat get in your way. So that's why I would say the variation where you have only the viral mod, not more mods, because otherwise they can get a bit too expensive. Using like the discount there, efficiency mod with the viral mod, so they spawn already with the infection. Which essentially makes them cost the normal price. They're not going to be super cheap. Well, they're actually going to cost -1 because I'm also using the passive. So as far as passive abilities, you're using two. They're -2 essentially because you're using her passive for -1 cost, and you're also using the efficiency mod for -1 cost. So it's -2 total. But if you have the viral mod there of infection, then it's only -1, but it's still -1. So you're still gaining something on that discount. That's what I found to work best. I try using with the energy leech viral mod as well, but it's just sometimes it feels like it's a bit too expensive. You just want to get zombies out and you can't. On moments where they just die and you need to replace them quickly, and you just don't have the energy for that. So that's why I changed the camera. Sorry, the viral mod to the camera there for the energy leech, and it works fine. But the infection here is really the key, so that's what I would recommend in this build. Now you see they still got past area 1, but on area 2, of course, the closer it gets to area 3, your energy builds up faster and everything, so things get better. One thing I haven't tried out as well is instead of using the two equipment for extra biting, you could use one equipment for biting and one generator, sorry, reactor, so you build the energy a little bit faster. That could possibly be helpful as well, which is something I am experimenting. You see, I'm spawning as many zombies as possible before I use the cameras, so it hits everyone, affects everyone. Also having the liquors on the preset and kind of helps as well because they are a big distraction. Um, Now the biggest weakness to spawning zombies like this is really just the items. If they have like flashbangs, grenades, or molotovs, sometimes they can kill multiple creatures at the same time with only one item. So that's a bit bad. Oh, speaking of killing, one other thing you can do, other type of equipment, because as long as you're using the two fire canisters, level 3 and level 2, that's pretty high already, you know, in terms of infection, considering she has another passive that I'm using right now, which enhances the effects of the enhancements even more, which is about 30%. So that passive in itself is like having another level 2 canister working constantly. So that's really good. If using the infection like I'm using right now, which is every canisters, every infection possible equipment, and then plus the passive, that's extra 30%. Her infection levels get close, very close to Alex's level. Not exactly the same, but very close. So the only problem is that, you know, the zombies, they kind of still die too quickly. And yeah, I mean, if you don't have the viral mod there, they won't always spawn infected. But you see, everyone is constantly infected the entire game here. They can't really get close to the creatures without getting infected. Another equipment you could try running here as a variation. But again, I wouldn't change the two viral canisters. I'll say you need at least two viral canisters on the equipment, level 3 and 2. You just change the two other slots if you want to. I would say probably extra biting. It's a good call. Or you can also use things like the what's it called, the virus, where you take less damage when you're controlling the zombie. And you can also use, or you can just use more health in general for the, you know, for the zombies. But really, the idea is not that they survive; it's just that they infect them because they are so weak. The zombies are weak. The cashier is really the only zombie in your deck that's gonna give them 10 seconds for getting killed. So as long as you can affect them, you're already getting those 5 seconds back in terms of the total time.
Best laid plans. Time takes all we love away from us.
Feel for what works best. But really just stick to the main idea here, which is the infection, 2 viral canisters at least, plus the passive for enhancements, and cheap zombies. So yeah guys, that's the video, and I'll see you in the next one.